Oh, we're live. Yay.
Hello.
Yay. Hello, hello. Good morning, Facebook friends, families, and viewers. This is the Tuesday edition of At Home with Tanya and Jolene. I cannot believe that I say this every time, like this is our 13th episode. Like who would have thought that we would have been doing this for 13 times? That means that like we've spent 6 hours of airtime on Facebook. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
that is crazy.
I
That
would have
is.
never that thought just occurred to me. Had I not just thought about that, like I would have never pre-COVID, I would have never thought I would have spent like 6 hours worth of live time on Facebook.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
nuts.
Yeah.
But here we are. My name is Tanya Blosser. I am a real estate agent with Coldwell Banker in the local Northern Virginia area, and this is like week 10 or 11 or something of quarantine. So me and my two girls are here, and I'm also online with my lovely co-host.
Hello, all. So I'm Jolene Moore with Main Street Home Loans. So we help clients with refinancing and purchasing. And so today, and I am also a mom of three. And so if you hear a 4-year-old screaming in the background, I was like, I about went to my office today because I'm like, it's so loud in here sometimes.
I know.
But here I am at home.
So, hashtag work from home.
Exactly. Yeah. Which is good about like last night I worked till I was at my desk till 8 o'clock last night here at home. And it's like, I think we probably all seen it. It's like you can just get sucked into working because you're here. You didn't go anywhere. Like I went outside for, I don't know, a very short time yesterday. So
yeah,
today I'm working out and I'm walking away from this computer before 8 o'clock. So,
I did my push-ups yesterday.
Oh, good. I've been bad too. I'm getting back. I did 40 or 50 last night.
Oh my
but
gosh.
I didn't finish them.
Okay, so we're going to go off onto a tangent, which was not scheduled, but really quickly. So Jolene and I are doing a push-up challenge, and it was Jolene's idea, and it was actually a fantastic one, that we do push-ups every day according to the day
of the year.
The day of the year. There you go.
Yeah.
So I think I had gotten up to like 112 or 113 pretty consistently, and now I've lost my way.
Yeah.
And so yesterday what I did was and I admittedly I was doing modified push-ups, right? Which are still hard. I mean,
yes,
120
or that many.
Oh my God, it's like crazy. But I did full push-ups and I did 18. Because it was like the 18th day of May yesterday. And I was like, okay, this is how I'm going to like trick my brain into doing them again. They were hard.
Yeah, I did. I had gotten up to, I think 129.
That is crazy.
But then I fell off last week. So I'm getting back on it as well. Because I think we're up to day like 135 or 137 or something like that. I
that is
crazy. If I forget. So we'll be
that
back.
Is so on. Congratulations to you, by the way. That's awesome.
You too. I do feel it in my arms and stuff. I feel like you can see a difference. So I'm going to get back on track. But so today we're going to talk about, so a couple weeks ago, Tanya interviewed me. And so today I'm going to reverse the role and interview Tanya.
So I don't know about that surprise.
So, we've had lots of different people on here, that's covering different topics. And oh my gosh, can you hear that screaming? Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry.
Okay.
So anyway, so last week we talked about the mortgage side of things. Today we're going to talk about the real estate side of things.
Sorry. And now I'm getting phone calls. Sorry.
Crazy chaos. So Tanya, we talked a little bit, with everybody, like how is business continuing in our environment, and I know we're seeing kind of a light at the end of the tunnel. So what I thought would be helpful is kind of say, what are you doing, in with the COVID situation? But then also what have you seen from when we first started, the stay at home in mid-March, which is amazing that it's been 2 months. To now, what have you differences that you're seeing now from when we first began?
So I think the first thing is, and I feel like I repeat myself, but I have these conversations a lot. And I think you mentioned it when we were chatting with you last time, is that real estate is still an essential business. It's still an essential service. It's a very large portion of our national GDP. And I think that from many economists that I listen to, they really expect housing to kind of pull us out of it, pull us a little bit out of the economic slump that we're in right now, a recession. So, I think that, but along with that, so business has continued. I think the market is trending anywhere between probably 25 and 35% down in volume when you look at it as a whole. When I look at my business, I'm about the same. I'm income wise, I'm like 22% off of last year, and volume wise, I'm actually about 20% off of last year. So, and that's kind of right in line with what's going on in the market. So, but so real estate is still happening. It's just happening differently. And it's happening with, first and foremost, that we're all thinking about our own personal safety, and that of the people that I'm, the clients or customers that I'm working with, including myself and the sellers. If I'm going to show a home, the sellers, if they're occupying the home, making sure that I'm keeping their home safe as well. So I actually have this picture of myself, completely with mask and gloves and hand sanitizer and, Clorox wipes and stuff like that. And it's like, I finally say that this is the anatomy of a real estate agent right now. It's also the anatomy of most people when they go out in public, but it certainly is the anatomy of a real estate agent right now. So safety is always first. I've had clients that have decided that now is not the right time to either list their home or buy a home. I completely understand that. I think there's a lot of information rolling around out there that people start to hear and start to maybe believe or think that's happening in our market. Maybe it's happening in other markets or nationally. So it's just talking through a lot of that conversation. So I think, and then everything is shift to virtual, right? So we use technology for a lot of stuff. I think we talked about when we were interviewing you, you and I started this because we decided we needed a way to reach out to our communities. And this was using technology and a pretty innovative way to do it. So, but like I just did an open house on a listing over the weekend, and I did a virtual open house. And I pushed that out through social media, and I also pushed out, encouraging people to sign up for a personal tour, and I'll take them through a personal tour of the house. But
like
even
virtually, a virtual tour.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And so when you do a virtual open house, like how's the engagement like, and how do you know, I guess, kind of what engagement you're getting? How are you able to track that?
So obviously, if I did it live, and I think there's a lot to, when you do that, there's a lot of pre-marketing that you have to, we've talked about this a lot. There's a lot of pre-marketing that you have to go into it. But when I went on live on Sunday, I think it probably had about 10 people watching me live. And then after, which is, pretty common. I mean, to catch someone, even though you pre-marketed at a certain time, to try to catch someone live at that particular time is pretty tough. But then as it was rolling through the day, in that next 24-hour period, I think I had 150 just organic views of the tour. So
and how are the showings of how are you handling showings like beyond the open house? How is the home being shown otherwise?
That's a really good question, because agents can still show, obviously. There's varying ways that agents are showing right now. Some agents are wanting to see pre-approval letters before a buyer goes into a home. They want to make sure that there is a bona fide reason for this person to visit their home, especially if it's owner occupied. Some of that is seller, if the seller is wanting to do that, certainly that's one of the things that you can do. I provide little individual baggies of latex-free gloves and booties and a mask. And I ask everyone, please come prepared. If you don't come prepared, this is here for you. Please use them, put them back into the bag, the single little, sandwich bag that I give them, and then throw it away. Don't leave the booties behind. Obviously, don't leave the mask or the gloves behind either. So for like in-person showings, that's kind of what I do. And then, I go, if I'm around, I'll go and wipe down the house. Obviously, when I was there on Sunday doing the virtual open house, I wiped down the house. or I'll ask the agent to do that too. Or the seller will set it up to where it's almost a touchless environment. Doors are open, cabinets are open, so that people don't have to touch stuff, even though that they've got gloves and they've protected themselves.
Yeah, that's a good
So
idea, because I've definitely heard that
all
where
of it's
people are
shifted.
saying that the lights are on, the doors are open, like as much as you can have exposed, so that no one has to touch it. Honestly,
Yeah.
I haven't gone out to stores much during this time. My husband's done most of the shopping,
You're so
and he
lucky.
and I went to. I know, I'm blessed in that regard. Like he just told me this morning, he goes, I'm gonna give me a list, but don't make it big because I don't want to be there for a long time.
Forever.
But so we went out this weekend to Lowe's and to Betty's Azaleas, like to the garden centers, because we bought some trees, and it took me a minute to remember not to touch because I haven't been
Yeah.
out. And my husband's like, Jolene, what are you doing? Don't touch that. I was like, oh yeah. I was like, it's just natural for me to like, oh, look at this. I want to see it. I mean, I had gloves on, but still, he was like, don't touch anything if you don't have to. And I'm like, you're right. I just totally, it wasn't even something. And like we had our 4-year-old at the garden center. We didn't take her to Lowe's, but we took her to the garden center because it was outside. And we had to teach her, like, okay, you can't touch the flowers. You can't touch anything. This is how far you have to stay away from people. So it's very interesting, for sure.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. And I think that, I've been in and out ever since COVID started. I've been in and out. We had a mutual client that went under contract right when COVID was beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've kind of been out in it most, off and on through this entire time. And, I have to tell you though, but I still have concerns about going out. Like every time I'm like, okay. And people have varying degrees of how they're reacting to this in terms of,
Right.
like, I don't know what you witnessed, but some people have gloves, some people don't have gloves, some people have masks, some people don't have masks.
Yes.
And
Yes.
it's just a really interesting,
Yeah.
time. So I think that's going to roll around as people want to get out and stay-at-home orders are lifted and stuff. I think people are still going to have that ringing around in the back of their head about, do I
Well,
really want to go out?
yeah, and I think kind of like what you said, having it available so that if people, if it is someone who doesn't believe, want to, or have a mask but they need to be aware of others. And when they're entering
Yeah,
someone's home,
right,
having that available, they need to make sure that they take care of that. And you mentioned,
right.
some sellers requiring pre-approvals. And how often have you seen, because I've been seeing that a little bit more, even more recently. I did kind of at the beginning, but I feel like even more, like I even had one yesterday that the borrower reached out and said they're interested in a property. And I looked it up and it said it was off the market. So I asked the agent, I'm like, is it not on the market? And they said, well, it's not. They pulled it off because of health concerns, but they'll
Hmm.
only let certain people go in. They want to see a pre-approval letter. You have to follow their guidelines, all that kind of stuff. So there are definitely some people, I guess, and I'm just curious how much you've seen of that and what your thoughts are on that.
Yeah, I mean, I've run into a couple listings where the agent wants to see the pre-approval letter before we enter into the house. And it's interesting. I think it all probably depends on the seller and whether or not they
Mm-hmm.
have any kind of health risks or factors that would, make them more susceptible to it.
Right.
But I think it's a good idea. There's no reason for unwanted is not the right word, but unnecessary showings in your
Mm-hmm.
house.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's one of the reasons why, like, I've been tracking open houses, in-person open houses, and in-person open houses, there's still about 50% of all the open houses, like in the Northern Virginia market, are in person.
Mm.
And I think, which is really interesting. I mean,
Yeah.
DC and Maryland had different rules and procedures when it came to open houses when their stay-at-home orders came down. But in for the state of Virginia, as I understand it, you could technically still do an open house. Different firms, real estate firms, have treated that differently. Like Coldwell Banker, for instance, had said, let's not do any open houses. Let's be responsible, socially responsible. But yet, so there's kind of a varying degrees in terms of how it's being interpreted. But, of all the open houses in Northern Virginia, it's been running about 50% of in person
Wow.
versus,
Hmm.
being,
Interesting. I'd be curious.
virtual.
It's be interesting too of what kind of volume they've been getting, like how many people they've been coming to these live,
Yeah.
in-person ones.
Yeah.
'Cause
I
I
mean,
have
it's
seen
not a
early on, I
lot.
saw people have like sanitary stations outside the house. They'd only let one group in at a time, things like that. So I'm sure the in-person ones, they're, hopefully doing a lot
Controlled.
similar, things that you were talking about. But
Yeah.
they were talking about for us for opening our office that we had to order sanitary, hand sanitizer stations,
Oh,
like
wow.
so all kinds of different things that we have to have available, I guess,
Hmm.
before they want to open because they want to make sure all that's available for people. And to get
Yeah.
all those supplies, as we know, can be challenging.
It's hard. I
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. So,
I mean, when I was trying to find masks and booties and stuff, and just to have so I can have a stock for listings, yeah, I feel like a little bit of a hoarder because,
where
you
we
know,
found masks? We found
where,
masks at the Party Store at Party City.
oh my gosh, I didn't even think
And
of looking
hand
there.
sanitizer. So when my daughter
Oh
turned
my gosh.
18, we went to pick up the balloons, and there was this big sign on the outside because it was, curbside. You picked up the balloons, and it said hand sanitizer and masks available. And I'm like, all right, so we
Oh
bought it.
my gosh.
So
That's
yeah,
so
so if anyone
crazy.
needs them, go to Party City. You might find them there.
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
That's
Um,
crazy. I would have never thought of that place. I'm going there now.
yeah.
Now they'll all be
So,
gone.
all right. So we talked a little bit kind of like what changes, from what we've seen beginning to now. Anything else that you've noticed? And do you feel like the market's picking up at all? Like in the past, like few weeks or week? Have you
I
seen
I do.
change in there?
Um, yeah, I mean, I've been tracking the numbers, and just from a market standpoint, it seems like our low point was right around the 1st of April. And
Mm-hmm.
then right around mid-April is when and everything started to trend upward in terms of like buyer traffic. So showing time, which is a lot of the online scheduling system that a lot of agents use, that started tracking higher for in-person showings. Um, and listings started picking up. Pendings started picking up. So all of those kind of metrics started picking up a lot. And although I have to say, just like from a personal perspective, like I've been pretty consistent the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I've had people drop off, it was more of a delay than really a cancellation.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but so yeah, I mean, and I think now people are starting to understand that there is a way to conduct business. Safely. And still, if you have the need, you have the desire in order to purchase a home or sell a home, there's a way to do it
Right.
using everything that we have available. And then anecdotally, like the listing that I just mentioned, I had a virtual open house for this past weekend. I mean, it went live last Tuesday. We had 13 or 14 showings on it. We had multiple offers, and it's now under contract.
Nice.
So,
It
I
was a
think that
beautiful home too.
Oh, thank you. It shows super well. So,
Yeah.
it's just so beautifully decorated and stuff.
Yeah.
Um, so, I think that it's still happening in a lot of places. Inventory was creating a massive crunch anyway in the first
Mm-hmm.
quarter this year outside of COVID. You put COVID on top of it, and it's, while some buyers have backed away, you still have the same situation in terms of little inventory and buyers still out there trying to buy. So,
Yeah.
um, I think that there is an upward trend there. We just need inventory.
Yeah. And I think kind of like what you were saying, I think when it first happened, there was just so much uncertainty and so much like what's going to, no one knew exactly what, and that's like some of why the, mortgage market reacted and so many different markets reacted. I feel like now and who knows what's going to happen once we do start to open back up.
For
But right
sure.
now, I feel like those that were impacted by COVID, they know it, and then others that weren't, like financially, job security wise, now feel like okay, they know whether or not they're secure or not for the most part, and so
Sure.
they're able to kind of start thinking, okay, I can keep moving forward if I wanted to look at buying a home or sell my home or that type of thing. So I feel like there's been some kind of activity as we kind of start to see things open up a little bit more. As I know this week for me has been like crazy compared to last week.
Wow.
So
That's good. I mean, and
yeah,
you're kind of on the forward side of it,
right.
I mean, because
Yeah,
typically if people are doing it, they'll go to, get their financing in order first before they even start to even maybe connect with an agent or start
yeah,
looking or whatever.
yeah. So I do think that there's definitely people that are, and I think, like you said too, the inventory is so low that there's still, I mean, I've had clients losing offers. I mean, there's still
Yep.
multiple offers out there and they're still losing, unfortunately. So, and with
Yeah.
escalation clauses and, some of what we were seeing pre-COVID. So,
Right.
yeah,
Right.
yeah,
And I don't want to be tone deaf because I know that, nationally we have a pretty significant unemployment
yeah,
situation.
yeah,
So I don't want to be tone deaf to that at all. But, I was looking at the numbers just, in our region, and certainly our region has been affected by the unemployment rates. But when you look at the employment sector of our, Northern Virginia and DC metro at large, 20, not that hospitality and service was the only industry affected by unemployment, but we have maybe a 20% employment, 20% of our employment in this area is hospitality and service. And so I think we've felt it differently than maybe nationally.
right,
But
right.
I want to put that out there. I mean, I don't want to
Yeah.
be
Yeah,
completely tone deaf
that's
to
a very
employment.
good point though. I mean, because we have the government and of course that didn't, shut down.
Right.
Everyone continued to. But yeah, you're right. That is a good point. So,
Yeah.
all right, let's talk. So we talked about numbers, kind of COVID. Now let's talk a little bit on the personal side. So what is it? I guess share what you enjoy. Kind of what drew you to getting into real estate, and what some of the passions and the enjoyment you get from it.
Wow, that's a really good question. So I think part of it was I worked in a corporate environment for a long time, and I just found like I was always working. And have a tendency, like you're sitting at your desk until 8 o'clock at night. I'm, a little bit of the same way, which is I just kind of go, go, go.
Mm-hmm.
But I wasn't going anywhere there. And I just wanted to switch. I wanted the freedom and the flexibility. I never thought of myself as being entrepreneurial, and being a real estate agent isn't necessarily entrepreneurial, but you are having to do it all for yourself. And so I just decided I wanted to be around my kids more, and see them in different areas that I hadn't seen them before, because I missed a lot during the day, and which was also a huge change for me because that's just not within my wheelhouse. I'm just anyway. So I decided to become a real estate agent, and then I realized how much I enjoy relationships, and I enjoy people, and I think that you meet so many different ones in this job, and that is what I think if I'm passionate about anything, it's just meeting the people.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and having those relationships. I mean, I met you, for instance, like real estate's brought us together, and
Mm-hmm.
it's brought me together with some of my, really kind of better friends and clients that I have. And so that's just really cool. I value that a lot more. And so I don't know that that's why I got into it, but that's what's keeping me here and keeping me passionate about it. I mean, I love being able to, there's so much anxiety in it, but I love
Yeah.
being able to,
Yeah.
like I can if I need to get my kids somewhere, I can put them as a priority and just reschedule my work life around it if I need to.
Mm-hmm.
And that is kind of cool.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's kind of what I mean, I have a thing for numbers, and then I think grew me there too because of the kids. And then, you mentioned about, not thinking of yourself entrepreneurial, but I think real estate, yes, you didn't create the job, but
Right.
you have to create within it,
Yeah.
to have the business, because not everyone's able to, unfortunately, because you also have to have a certain personality and drive, because you have to create your own business. It's not
Yeah,
coming to you,
for
Um,
sure.
and one of the things I think both her and I do, which I think is also kind of helped our business, is coaching. Is
Hmm.
having a coach, a business coach, that helps you create your business and help you kind of with the process, and just give you ideas of how to continue to generate business, but also how to run it, which is I think
Right.
sometimes really challenging, because it's not a job, it's your career. I mean, it's your business. It's like
Yeah.
we're a business within a business is kind of how I look at it. It's like
Yes.
I'm my CEO of my company, as you are as well, within another company.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's so very well said. You're absolutely right. And it's a lot to juggle sometimes, between, juggling it and juggling, your personal life and whatever else that you're doing.
Yeah.
But it certainly makes me feel like I'm much more fulfilled than I was in any, I would say, corporate or full-time job. And there's nothing wrong with those jobs, but for me, it just wasn't the right fit.
Yeah.
And this definitely is. I'm ever since I started coaching, I find the structure, you're talking about accountability and structure, like I'm finding the structure that I need in order to treat it like a business and run it like a business and not, it's,
fly by the seat of your pants.
Yes, that's exactly right. And I have to say, I mean, just from a personal business perspective, I think COVID, I was going through a transition in my business anyway. And so COVID just helped me push that forward because I was so afraid to do some things before. And COVID, kind of wiped away the necessity to have the fear or the anxiety to make a change or make a switch or do something that I was uncomfortable with before. So in some ways, I don't want to say that I'm thankful for COVID, but I'm thankful for the opportunity to kind of push through it.
Well, but that's also a testament to you because, that you did push through it, and that you got
still maybe pushing through it.
This was a big step. Like, I mean, when Tanya and I first did our very first video, which was
my word,
like a year or two ago, I remember we had to do so many takes because Tanya was like, nope.
I swear we need a highlight reel.
I know.
My husband tells me all the time, the blooper reel will get literally the best engagement ever because it's funny. It's so funny.
So I know from personal experience that you push through it and you are fantastic now. Like when you're doing this, you're a natural. Like you do such a good job of like just asking good questions and just really engaging with people. So
well, you too. Mutual admiration society right here.
Yeah.
You too.
All right. Well,
all right.
Time has passed quickly.
I know.
We'll, I don't know if we did this with me, but we'll do it with you, is ask our questions that we ask of everybody.
Okay.
So, all right. So what's something that you're doing binge wise, watching, hot TV or any kind of show that you're binge watching?
My tried and true, my Downton Abbey. I talk about this all the time, but I have to say, like, we're a bunch of middle or I don't know. I don't even want to put an age on it. We're a bunch of older women around here in my house right now because like my husband, my daughter, my older daughter and I, and my younger daughter too, sometimes at night, that's what we do is we sit around and watch Downton Abbey. And so for me, like this is my fourth time through the series.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
And there's 7 series of it, or 7 seasons, excuse me.
And this is the fourth time watching it? Oh my gosh.
that actually sounds like I do a lot of binge watching TV. I watch it all at night. Like when I'm going to bed, I literally lay in bed with my iPad on my chest and like that's when I'm watching my shows. And that's what I do it. It's crazy.
That is so funny. I cannot watch a show more than once usually. Like it's really yeah, I have a thing, like even a movie, like so that's funny.
That's actually good. My husband applauds you for that because the fact that I watch like the same 5 movies over and over and over again makes him crazy.
Well, my husband would be like wanting to watch again. So, and I'm like, no, we already saw that. I'm like, I'm not doing that. All right. So what about food? Anything you're enjoying right now and want to eat lots of or often?
Okay, so I have 2 things actually. One of which was introduced to me during COVID. They're Japanese pancakes.
Oh,
they're so good. They're so good. We had some last night. I need to post a picture of them on. And
do you make them? Are they from scratch or do you buy them? Oh, wow.
Yes.
And what makes them Japanese pancakes? Like what is that?
It's got to be, so I have the recipe someone gave me the recipe for it completely from scratch, but I actually found a pre-mixed box of like the spices and like the flours and stuff. Cause it's not just regular flour. There's like a special kind of flour I'm really ignorant when it comes to what kind of flour is in it. But anyway, so I buy this mix, and then you use I use Asian slaw, but you could use like shredded cabbage. I put shredded zucchini in it. You can put pickled ginger in it. You can put shredded or chopped up spinach in it. And you basically put it all together in a bowl with 3 eggs, and you have this glop that you then fry in a pan, and it makes the most delicious Japanese. Wow. And then I think what really makes it is the condiment that goes with it. It's like this Asian mayonnaise. Oh my God, it's so good. It's so good.
Wow, that is very interesting.
It's my thing. I know. It sounds like it's really good. Anyway,
I kind of think you have to try it and not be like, what? No.
Okay, sorry.
All right. Well, someday I'll have to try that.
I'm going to bring you some.
Yes. I think my family would probably enjoy it. But all right. Do we have one other question? Oh, hobby. Yes.
Oh,
what other? Yeah. What are you besides watching Downton Abbey?
Right. So boring. And my Japanese pancakes. Puzzles. I love puzzles. That's just my thing.
And has it always been like puzzles is something you've always enjoyed doing, or no?
No. It's something that I got into, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 years ago. Okay. I don't know what it is. The harder, the better. Although I'm having a fight with one right now. Like I'm doing a minion one, and it's all yellow, and I'm having a hard time getting it done. So, but yeah, puzzles. I'm serious. Me in front of the television watching Downton Abbey with a puzzle. Seriously, put me in an assisted living home right now.
Oh my gosh. Wow. That's funny. That is too funny. Anyway. Well, I'll say one thing and then we'll go. We've been watching The Last Dance, the Michael Jordan documentary.
Oh yeah. Do you like it?
I thought it was really good. We just finished it. It was 10 episodes. We finished it last night. So that's what we've been binging. And one thing I'll say is that was very interesting about him, and I didn't know it, is that we were talking about like how I kind of applied it to business was he found something to always fuel him to fire him up. Like if someone talked trash to him and said something, like I guess he was a big trash talker, but like if someone said, like he had changed his number at one point, and one of these players said a 45 is no number 23, and basically saying he's not himself anymore. He can't play like he used to, because it was after he came back from retirement. And he went, the next half, he like demolished them. Anytime anyone said something to him, like trash talked him, he basically was like, okay, that's all I needed. And now I'm going, so it's like you never wanted to do that to him because you knew you were going to get destroyed.
Right.
But it was just interesting because it's kind of like what I was saying to my husband about is just finding within yourself whatever you need to fuel yourself. And I'm not saying you have to have trash talk, but we all have a drive, and that's what we're kind of talking about with coaching, that's what I found for me is to help hold me accountable. And that's what, like, I pay a lot of money for it, and people there are like, what are you doing? That's crazy. But it's just been what I needed to push myself, because I don't have the self accountability as much as I would like. So I found external things that helped motivate me. And so I would just say that going forward, that if you are challenged by that in any way, seek out other things besides just yourself to help you, keep pushing yourself forward in this time, and hold yourself accountable, and, find these new avenues of business that we're talking about and things to kind of keep moving you forward, because we're going to come out of this, and the stronger you are, the better it's going to be.
So well said. Absolutely well said. I think when you go through a period like this, finding your own community and your own tribe is really important. Yeah. And I think some of that is really helpful to support you through going, through a hard season. Right. And I know, I could not agree more. And I'll just leave it at that, because you said it so well. So very well said.
All right. Well, everyone have a good day. And thanks so much. If you
thanks for watching, everybody.
Another time or anytime, just comment. We'd love to hear from you.
Yes. Oh, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We have a great YouTube channel. We post all of our episodes on there. So yeah, check that out too.
All right. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.